Hello everyone, my name is Abel Garcia. Welcome to my presentation. I am a student out of Odessa Community College. I am studying occupational safety and health. And again, today my presentation is going to be over musculoskeletal disorder. And I hope you find this very informative. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Musculoskeletal disorder. Basic definition of that is injuries and disorder that affects the human body movement. So, case an example is you ever get those aches and pains in your body and just kind of wonder where they're coming from, and they just kind of develop over time, and just kind of come irritant. Well, generally it comes from the work industry. It can come from a hobby if you do something repetitive, and that's also can cause wear and tear. But generally, it comes from the work industry. And back in the early 90s, it was known as an occupational hazard during that decade. And so much research has been done now. Ergonomics is where it comes into play, kind of be the hero of this story and kind of help lessen the musculoskeletal disorder, kind of give the counter, you know, of it, action of it to prevent it. So but muscular disorder was very was a very booming thing going on. It was costing companies billions and billions of dollars. Insurance companies as well having to file claims and everything, and then it was causing strain between employers and employees because them thinking that employees don't want to work, but when in fact they're just developing these kind of symptoms and causing them to fall out of line to do their job. And so therefore these supervisors could be thinking, hey, let's just say Johnny don't want to work. He don't want to do his job. He's just trying to get out easy today. And then therefore they get rid of Johnny and they bring somebody else. And it's just a continuous cycle, and they get this mindset that some people just don't want to work when in fact that's not true. And in some cases that may be true, but for this purposes, it's not. And the supervisor may not be well educated in knowing the full frontal of ergonomics and what all the purpose it can do and muscular disorder on how that it can affect the work environment. So a good example of that is uh, workplace design. I worked for a Caterpillar one time, and I was a tack welder. So basically, taking the frame and adding components to it and tack welding it before sending it down the line to get everything else on it to complete the product. Well, during that time in that area, it's everything was very convenient. I had the bins of all the parts I needed. I had my tools all nicely set up. I had a boom that kind of swung over me to use my welding tools. And then to take it a step further, if there was anything over 35 pounds that was heavy, there was another swing boom that kind of swung around, kind of used the hoist, picked up the part, and it just stuck it in the work area that we were at, and to tack that a component in. So that is what you call a workplace design to help kind of make the culture of that very very benefit. So everything was very convenient. It was not that much of a hassle to kind of put all those components together. It wasn't like I had to go 3 aisles down, then go to the left, and then with a buggy and then pick it up and then bring it. That is where the strain and wear and tear of the body is. But the way Caterpillar had it set up was at ease, doing that. So that made life overall very well. Um, another instant is being out in the oil fields is kind of the same way. I used to pick up heavy stuff and just kind of throw it around, not necessarily using the proper body mechanics, lifting steps. So one day I woke up and realized, man, I'm really hurting here, and I was like, I have to see if try something here. So one day just out of the, out of just my own thought process, I like, let me pick this tool up and kind of, you know, bend with the knees and pick it straight with my back straight and kind of keep a center of gravity and carry this around. And sure enough, I found that to be, very less painful and, very beneficial. And then from there on, it kind of got me going on, hey, when somebody's speaking to you about proper techniques and mechanics and proper ways, they're not out there to make your life miserable. They know something about this, and you should wise up and listen. So that is how I started to kind of go down this direction here of getting very fluent in safety and ergonomics and all that nature. And the next up we have workstation design, and what that is a good example of that is for people that kind of work in an office scenario or that has a workbench, around them, or it's a kind of a they need to sit somewhere to deal with running a machine or something, and doing that 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, if not more, and what happens is that area can be generically made just to get the job done. But if it's not catered to you, to your size, to your function, to your skill set, or to your just measurements, then you can be facing some disorders in the long run as well. You could be dealing with muscle strain, tendonitis, carpal tunnel. That's a very big monster one. That's kind of hanging out there on a lot of people, and it's very important to get that workstation design catered to you. So for an example, I'll use an office. You someone sitting at an office and you're sitting in the chair all day, and if that chair doesn't help create better posture, then and keep your back in line, then you're going to suffer from this. Typing all day, and if you don't put a mat under your wrist while you're typing, it's going to cause your hands to fatigue more, and then therefore, and longevity wise, you're going to get carpal tunnel, and eye fatigue. That comes from looking at a screen. If you're not looking at it 15 degrees at eye level, 50 degrees lower the way that it should, because people don't know this, we tend to look at it 60 degrees lower, and that's called eye fatigue. And that can make us mentally tired, maybe not physically, but mentally tired, and that causes more issues. So it's just simple adjustment like that can make a quality of life overall better, and just doing these steps. And not only that, if you're taking the time to do the assessments and 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 communicate between the employee and the employers, life is going to get better. Not only for the work, but at home. You got some high risk fields in the construction industry, oil field, manufacturing, um, you, you know, nurses and firefighters. Those are some high risk areas because the repetition that you have to continuously do. So if everybody gets on the same page and do the assessment that they need, they're going to find out that, hey, you're going to make your bosses happy because there's going to be a lower cases in incident rates or in injuries or musculoskeletal disorders, and obviously you're going to save the company lots of money, and it's also saving valuable time from having to train somebody over that position. So that right there can create a lot of good balance, and just good relationships between everybody else. So it's very important to have ergonomics established in the workplace. So if you ever notice anything kind of not fitting right, make sure to bring it up to somebody and just see if you can work something out. It's very important, and I cannot stress that enough. So well, that is the end of my presentation. I hope you found it very pleasurable to find what you need. So I thank you for watching, and talk to you soon.